Let's shift our focus to COP28, where nations grapple with the consequences of a year marked by record heat and drought. From assessing global climate progress to heated debates over the future of fossil fuels, this summit, it's a battleground of ideas and commitments. Take a look at our next report to know more.
COP28 is putting a spotlight on methane, the world's second most prominent greenhouse gas. While it has more warming potential than carbon dioxide, methane also breaks down in the atmosphere faster, meaning reining in emissions could have a more immediate impact in limiting climate change. What is needed now is to turn pledges into urgent action, according to the United Arab Emirates COP28 presidency. Here's what you need to know. More than 150 countries signed onto the US and EU-led Global Methane Pledge in 2021. They promised to slash their methane emissions 30% below 2020 levels by the end of the decade. Few have detailed how they will achieve this. The EU has agreed to set methane emission limits on Europe's oil and gas imports from 2030. The US is finalizing its own rules. Canada, meanwhile, is expected to target the sector with a proposal requiring a 70% cut in methane emissions by 2030, sources told Reuters. China, the world's biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, has pledged to include methane in the country's 2035 National Climate Plan. The World Bank is in the process of launching a new fund, with backing from independent oil companies, among others. It would sponsor detection and cleanup programs in developing countries. Some oil and gas companies are already participating in voluntary programs to monitor or reduce their emissions. COP28 host, the United Arab Emirates, wants to see national regulations over methane-emitting sectors and financial support for developing countries. It is also calling on the oil and gas industry to phase out its methane emissions by 2030. Climate experts say getting companies and countries to commit to a binding agreement is key. Last year's methane emissions from the energy industry were slightly higher than the year before.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.